DJI has built its reputation in the action camera space slowly and consistently, not through sudden leaps or flashy overhauls, but through steady refinement with every generation. Each new Osmo Action model has typically focused on improving real-world usability, better stabilization, stronger image processing, and more reliable performance in difficult environments rather than completely reinventing the formula. With the DJI Osmo Action 6 now officially in the market, attention has naturally started shifting toward what comes next in the lineup. That brings us to the DJI Osmo Action 7, a camera that is already the subject of early speculation, industry chatter, and prediction based on DJI's established release behavior. As of early 2026, there is no official confirmation from DJI regarding the Osmo Action 7, but the discussion around it is growing steadily because of one simple reason: DJI's predictable product cycle. Over the past several years, DJI has followed a relatively stable rhythm with its action camera releases, typically introducing a new model roughly once a year. Even when timelines have shifted slightly due to production conditions or internal adjustments, the company has rarely deviated far from its annual upgrade pattern. This consistency gives analysts and enthusiasts enough confidence to assume that another generation is already in development, even if it hasn't been publicly announced. Based on that historical pattern, the DJI Osmo Action 7 is widely expected to arrive in late 2026, most likely in the final quarter of the year. Many predictions point toward an October or November launch window, which aligns with DJI's usual strategy of introducing new consumer products ahead of the holiday season. In many cases, DJI begins teasing its upcoming products shortly before release, followed by regulatory filings, certification leaks, and then a global announcement event. If there are no major disruptions related to supply chains, manufacturing delays, or regulatory challenges, this timeline appears to be the most realistic expectation for the Osmo Action 7. While release timing is the easiest part to estimate based on past patterns, pricing is always a more interesting topic because DJI tends to balance innovation with accessibility. Historically, DJI has avoided making aggressive price jumps between generations of its action cameras. Even when new features are introduced, the pricing structure tends to remain relatively stable, with only modest increases depending on regional markets or bundled accessories. For the Osmo Action 7, early expectations suggest that DJI will continue this strategy. The standard version of the DJI Osmo Action 7 is likely to be positioned in the mid-range action camera category, with a projected price somewhere between approximately $350 and $430. This would keep it competitive with other major brands in the same segment while still reflecting incremental improvements in hardware and software. In addition to the base model, DJI is also expected to offer bundled adventure kits or expanded packages that include mounting accessories, extra batteries, or protective cases. These premium bundles could potentially reach the $450 to $500 range depending on configuration and region. This tiered pricing approach allows DJI to appeal to both casual users and more serious creators without alienating either group. Moving beyond pricing and release expectations, the more important question for many users is what the Osmo Action 7 will actually bring in terms of performance and features. Based on current speculation and DJI's recent development trends, the Action 7 is expected to be more of a refinement-focused upgrade rather than a radical redesign. That means the overall sensor architecture may remain similar to the previous generation, but improvements will likely come from processing power, software optimization, and image tuning rather than dramatic hardware changes. In terms of imaging, the DJI Osmo Action 7 is expected to continue using a sensor in the same general size class as the Action 6. However, even with a similar sensor format, DJI is likely to introduce improvements in how that sensor is utilized. This could include enhanced low-light performance, more efficient noise reduction, and improved dynamic range handling. In practical terms, that would translate into cleaner footage in challenging lighting conditions, better detail retention in shadows and highlights, and more balanced overall exposure in unpredictable environments. Video performance is also expected to remain one of the core strengths of the Action 7. DJI has consistently focused on making its action cameras capable of high-resolution recording with smooth frame rate options, and that trend is likely to continue. While it is unlikely that the Action 7 will dramatically change the resolution category it operates in, improvements in encoding efficiency, color processing, and stabilization during recording are expected. Rather than pushing extreme specifications, DJI seems more focused on ensuring that footage looks consistent, stable, and usable straight out of the camera. One of the most important areas of development for any action camera is stabilization, and DJI has historically led in this category. The Osmo Action 7 is expected to continue building on DJI's existing stabilization system with more refined motion correction algorithms. This could include improved horizon leveling that stays more accurate during rapid movement, smoother transitions when switching directions, and smarter digital stabilization that adapts dynamically to different environments. The goal is not just to reduce shake, but to make handheld and fast-moving footage look more cinematic and controlled without requiring additional equipment or editing. Battery life and thermal performance are also expected to see gradual improvements. Over the years, DJI has steadily worked on extending recording times and improving power efficiency across its devices, and the Action 7 will likely continue this trend. Users can reasonably expect longer continuous recording sessions, better heat management during extended use, and more stable performance in extreme temperatures. For an action camera that is often used outdoors in unpredictable conditions, these improvements are just as important as image quality upgrades. For now, the DJI Osmo Action 7 remains one of the most anticipated upcoming action cameras in the market, not because it promises a revolution, but because it represents the next step in a steadily evolving system. As more information becomes available closer to launch, a clearer picture will emerge. Until then, this is everything currently known and reasonably expected about the DJI Osmo Action 7 based on patterns, leaks, and industry analysis.